Doctor just spoke, and that's him, an embodiment of science speaking. Now, do you believe science? Who here believes science? Science is real, it's practical, it's believable, right? Religion is too, to a large extent. But in my experience, religion dealt with me while I struggled with mental imbalances. If I had spent all the times that I invested entering one church after another or seeking counsel from one man of God or one prophetess there and there, if I had spent all that energy and time taking my drugs and staying medicated, chances are I would not have embarrassed myself to the extent that I did. Please, God is real. Jesus is real. Religion is very good, practical. But please believe science. I am aware that there are people that have their family members suffering from one disorder or the other, but they have been misdiagnosed and the churches have misquoted their predicaments. That's very unfair. There was a particular man of God that told me that my mother is a subconscious marine queen. That's the exact word he used. That man had us going for years. And of course, I always had nightmares. And these nightmares would present my mom chasing me or saying something or doing something. But these are all figments of the imagination. The things you imagine will follow you to the subconscious realm and begin to play tricks on you. Then when you wake up into your reality, you begin to expect the manifestation of all that you have seen. And indeed, negativity will begin to manifest before you to show resemblances of what you're expecting because you called it thought. Some people go through manic episodes and they tie them to trees and beat them and flog them. Some they tell them to go to deliverance sessions. It's not right. The road should be to FMC or to any other hospital that has the care and services that are required for those predicaments. So if you know somebody who believes in one line of thought or the other, and based on what you have heard, it does not really sit well with you, please do well to boldly tell the person, I think you should see a doctor. And there is no shame in it. I said it before, nobody is getting out of here alive. We are all going to die. So it will be disservice to oneself to use because of what will be said or how people will feel or react towards you to shy away from getting the right help. Am I communicating? Earlier on, I mentioned that women have a lot of mental disorders going on. I say so because women are multitaskers. We take on a lot of stress. A woman can have a baby on her back and she's washing, and at intervals she's stirring the stew that she's frying, then she'll stop for a bit and spank a child and then brush off something. We're multitaskers. I feel like all that rigorosity at the end of the day has adverse effects that it presents to the woman. Then we go through trauma. The trauma of carrying I won't call it trauma of carrying a baby, but the stress of pushing a baby or being sliced to bring out the baby, stress of D&C, raising a baby, pain causes mental illness. So when some of us are acquiring it through hereditary, some of us are acquiring it through living a stressful life or through trauma or through poverty. Like we just mentioned, the fuel thing, that this fuel thing is further triggering people downhill. And we have to talk about it without shame because all we have is each other. We have to look out for each other. I remember growing up, I was always an angry child. Looking back now, I fought a lot. I always used to talk with so much temperament, and all that were tiny, tiny signs to show that this girl was a troubled child. But of course, because I had confidence going on, it was hard to track that. Because my parents were unaware, it was hard to have that discussion. Instead, they sent me to deliverance sessions because they always felt, you don't know what you're doing. Sometimes you talk out of tune. Sometimes you imagine things and then you say it out as if it's your reality. Meanwhile, it's not. It was a lot. There are children you know in your compound, in the schools, in your neighborhood that behave absurdly. It starts from child for some of these people, without even bringing in drug abuse into it. Some little kids that throw tantrums in the air. There are children you see and say, "No, give me that," and no, and they'll smash something. Wow, Those are kini traits that if you don't handle them emotionally the right way, they'll grow with all that aggression, all that violence. That's what will build an adult that cannot contain him or herself emotionally. So let's all always be on the lookout. We have flyers that point out to some factors that are, instrumental to this topic. Please, if you don't have it, raise your hands so that you get it. The information that is in it is also in the gift bags. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate the fact that you people came out. If anybody has any questions whatsoever to throw at me or the doctors, please, the mic is free for anybody that wants to take advantage. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being vulnerable with us. So at this point, the mic is open, as she said. Do you have any question for the doctors, for her? Not for me, though. I can't help you. That's why they're here. Okay, so we have one question.
Please, the drugs, will you take it like for the rest of your life, or is there any point you will stop taking the drugs?
Depending on the condition and also the presentation, some of the medications you take them for a specific period. Could be 6 months, could be a year. Okay. Then there are still some other things that are involved. Let us say, for example, you now have a relapse, either as a result of you going back to maybe the use of hard drugs or something. You may need to take them for